heard one pro comment for chicken raising in the city limits. I'll make this short and go right to the motion if that's okay with everyone.
I would like to say that I would be in favor of looking into doing something about the bees as well, because if my neighbor had bees.
Let's, and I appreciate that, and if you want us to go down that road, when we get to council discussion at the end, let's talk about that.
All
Let's
right.
stay with
Thank you.
the agenda item.
Okay. In that case,
I would say that whether I agree with something or vehemently am against it, I will always be in favor of a public hearing, so the public can speak, and because it's the people's government. So I would be in favor of a public hearing.
I would generally, I think almost always agree with you, except that we've had now 3 council meetings of public hearing. Maybe not official, but we've obviously had a lot of input. I've had many calls. So generally I would agree with you, and I historically do not allow waiving of readings, which supports that thinking. But in this instance, I'm fine with killing it right here.
and I would echo that, Clerk. I also received a lot of contact because of the fact that we're even talking about it. And I don't know that prolonging it's gonna make any difference. I really feel like in this particular instance, the messenger kind of didn't help the message. And I feel like maybe we might have had, if this went forward and we ended up amending our ordinance, we might have had 4 people that might have had chickens. We had an awful lot more people that didn't want them. The people that told me they think we should change it, none of those people probably would have had chickens. They just would have been okay with their neighbor having chickens. So I don't think there's the passion out there for it, and we've talked about it enough time.
And the other thing that bothers me in this whole deal, and I understand, Mike Murphy's explained it to me, Jason has explained it to me. The process that has to go, I don't like it any more than anybody else. But, so, Delana says, there should be stipulations and people should be able to check on it. Well, if you can't walk onto their property to control it, I don't know how you've got any authority to walk on to monitor it. And so I don't know, Mike, that's a question.
Well, so when I mean, we don't really need to get into it too much, but when there's a permitting process, when someone comes for a permit, they're consenting
More of a check.
to
It'll
the
be like our
inspection.
vacant building
So
ordinance.
that's
Gives
the
you
way,
that
that's the way
opportunity.
around it, but I understand what you're saying.
Right, so I'm fine with killing it at this point.
Then I would make a motion to deny moving to a public hearing on this ordinance.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you all for your input, and thanks for making time to come address this. So, Molly,
Oh, yeah, I did want to mention, today is National Fried Chicken Day.
is it really?
So now that we're pissed, it really is, so. Tomorrow might be National Fried Chicken Day.
Okay. Moving on to deposits and investments. City administration has been reviewing the various options available for deposit and investment of city funds. Currently, the city holds the funds at local banks in Lamar's. 2 additional options available to the city are the Iowa Public Agency Investment Trust and Cent Credit Union. IPAIT has been serving Iowa public institutions since 1987. They were created to allow public institutions to invest their available operating and reserve funds conveniently and effectively. There are currently over 450 public entities that participate in the trust. The trust is fully compliant with the Iowa Code Chapters 12B and 12C that govern public entities' deposits and investments. Cent Credit Union recently merged with Northwest Iowa Credit Union here in Lamar's. With the merger, as this local credit union grows, there could be the potential for the city to deposit and invest funds with them. Along with this, the city investment policy has not been updated for a number of years and should be updated to keep in line with current practices and standards. City administration recommends updating the city investment policy, joining the Iowa Public Agency Investment Trust, and updating the authorized depository. I would ask the first question of Jacob. The Iowa Public Agency Investment Trust, tell me about how that operates, and does it use local banks at all? Does our money stay locally, or does it go to Des Moines?
So the trust has different funds that it will deposit them in. It also can work on getting CD rates throughout the state, so it can be a Des Moines-based bank, it could be another bank throughout the state. In talking with them, they said generally they don't price out with the local banks, they leave that up to the communities to continue to price out CDs and whatnot with the local banks, so that you have that relationship. And then you can go directly through the banks. So really the trust just gives you an option of, you can do CDs throughout other banks in Iowa, they'll give you pricing on that. They'll also do investments for you. Joining them doesn't require the city to put any funds there. So passing this resolution, it just gives us the option of putting funds there. And I know their rates for money market right now are more in the 5% range, whereas locally, we're getting like 20.5. So there is a significant difference in interest.
Sure.
So.
Well, my take on this is that, while I think we need to be fiscally responsible, I do think we can get a rate locally that we need and desire. But when we pull our money out of our community, $1 million deposited into Cent Credit Union or Prime Bank or any of our local banks gives our community $10 million worth of borrowing power. So I could go there personally and borrow up to $10 million if I had the credit, because of your $1 million. So I'm really sensitive about pulling money out of our community for this. Now, if it's a tool that you think you need, and there's other reasons to do it, then by all means,
Yeah, I mean, I don't see us taking all of our money and throwing it in the trust. I think it's just a tool that we can use to maybe help get it at a little bit better rates here in town. And maybe there are times in town here where, I know when I was talking to them, they talked about some communities, even locally here, where there's been other people that are in the trust where there's times when banks don't really want the money.
Yeah.
Because they have enough funds already. And so then it gives them the opportunity to put the funds in the trust at that point in time.
I can see that isn't the case right now.
No, it's not the case right now.
But about 3 years ago it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think with that, I think that's a good caution.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be a useful tool for the city to have.
Sure.
You asked all my questions, because those were exactly what I was, the only other one that I was gonna ask is this one you can borrow from then too? If you've got deposit, no, I mean, like, to help us with projects and,
No.
okay.
No, it's just for investing.
Okay.
Just putting funds in.
I could see.
But if we're in it, we don't have to use it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no minimum or anything.
Right.
If we get to an extremely low interest rate environment like we had, I could see maybe a need for this, but right now, I wouldn't see a need for it, but that's just.
Are you okay with having it?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm okay with in the,
Yeah, have an arrow in his quiver, right? I think that's.
so you're good with that?
Yeah.
Those investment decisions still come back before us.
You see the financials every
You
meeting.
just see the financials every
Yeah.
meeting, and it
Yeah.
shows them on, once a month, it shows them on there. Usually, I make those decisions along with Jason, and I'll send stuff out to the finance committee too before I do it.
I'll make a motion adopting resolution number 2332, amending the city's investment policy.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Is it
If
31
not,
or
we need
32?
roll call.
32?
It's 32.
Okay.
34.
Sturgeon,
Yes?
Wick,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Motion adopting resolution number 2333, joining the Iowa Public Agency Investment Trust.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Donlin,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion adopting resolution number 2334, naming depositories for the city.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Wick,
Yes.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Motion carried. All right, moving on to discussion items. Jason?
Alley update, south side is done, you can all see that, north side has been removed. Right now, there's a private contractor in there, I believe, replacing 2 service lines. And then Mid-American is gonna get in there and do some, I believe, gas line repairs. So yet another delay to our contractor. But anyway, it will get done. K-49, the PCC overlay project that we're doing in conjunction with the county down to C-38. There is a pre-construction meeting tomorrow for that project. So we'll find out at what point. I believe that's Goverson Smith also. So we'll see at what point they expect to move in for that project. But that project could take 3 months total for that thing. But, and if you've been out in front of City Hall, you notice that Ace Signs is over there replacing the Royal 3 marquee. That project is possible $18,750 worth because of Dartmouth Foundation. We did apply for that, so they are paying for the replacement of that. So thanks to them. And then just a little snippet on Emerald Ash Borer. It is officially in Lamar's. Talking to a tree person yesterday, they said it's been in Lamar's for 3 years already. So officially, I think it was last week, I think State of Iowa officially declared us infested. Anyway, so what's happening now is Brad Epling is going to all city property. He is marking all of our ash trees. He is also getting costs for removal of those trees, because we wouldn't be able to do it all on our own. So he's getting costs for that, and he's getting cost for if we choose to treat some trees, because some trees are worse off than others, and some aren't savable. But anyway, so we should have that within the next couple weeks, those costs to compare, and then I guess we could decide, how we'd like to proceed at some point.
Is he making a priority, priority list, must go now and, marked ash, but no signs or minimal signs?
It'll be on a spreadsheet, so I don't know if there'll be,
I'm just wondering if he'd use different marks. So, I mean, if it's, Scott Lang always used to say the 5 Ds, dead, dying, disease, dangerous, and what was, there was one more. That's when a tree was deemed to be taken down.
yeah, I suppose, I don't know, I mean.
I'm sure it's in various stages
if he's assessing the stage it's in during this, I guess I didn't ask him that specifically. But it would be something good to know. I mean, if you go look at a tree, he brought me a picture and he brought me a piece of bark out of one of our trees. But you can obviously look at this tree and 3/4 of the leaves are gone.
Right.
I mean, so that's, you're not gonna save that tree. If we go to an ash tree and we really don't see any physical evidence of it, that might be a tree that we could try to treat.
Right.
Okay, so that would be good to know.
So that's what I'm kinda thinking, and then a replacement. So if we take down 50 trees, or 160 or 1,000 trees, I think we need to come up with a replacement plan fairly quickly.
Yeah, the one concerning thing that we did talk about that he brought up, this is from a tree in Cleveland Park.
Okay,
There are a lot of ash trees in Cleveland Park.
right.
Cleveland Park might end up looking bare pretty soon if we have to take all those trees down.
Right, so I would concur with Clark about a plan how we are going to then replace them as part of his plan for
Yeah.
treating and all of that, so.
Cause don't we own all those evergreens out by Schuster's corner there at Lampert's?
That's a good question. They were Rulin's, and Rulin was using that as,
A nursery.
Yeah.
Or a place to store live trees.
yeah.
But if we, could work out a deal where we start replacing with evergreens and, I
A
wanna
lot of those
see.
trees in Bolser Park also are ash trees.
I'm sure they are.
So just to let you know,
Then, evergreen?
you're gonna lose all your shade, Brian.
They don't give me leaves. They don't give
Still
me
some
leaves.
significant tree farms on the golf course.
I'm not sure there's significant.
Yeah, he is not, what Brad's not doing is evaluating the golf course. There's a lot of ash trees on the golf
Cause
course.
those guys can do it themselves, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, I don't think they have a significant tree farm.
Well, they're gonna need replacements as well. so,
Right.
Yeah. So just to let you know, I mean, that's where we are, and we'll have to come back with,
I would encourage some sort of a priority. The blue mark means it's noted, the red mark means it's got to go.
It has been communicated, but there's a lot of people that seem to forget. Can you review the trees that are in the parking, that are in the city right away, are now the responsibility of the citizen? That changed, what, 15 years ago or something like
I
that?
think, as long as I can remember, it changed. Or it has been this way for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trees in the parking, they're gonna force me to try to remember what
Sorry.
they said. Yeah, they're responsibility of the adjoining property owner, okay? So if a branch falls out, go pick it up. The city will remove a tree in the parking if the tree is dead.
5Ds.
Yeah, and I don't know if we even go by the 5Ds anymore. but,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have used that.
I'm not gonna remember.
If there is a dead branch, depending on how dangerous it is, yes, go take them out. But the maintenance of a tree, so that the yearly or trimming of a tree to make sure that it's far enough above the sidewalk and far enough above the street, that's the adjoining property owner. That's not the city that does it.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So if you have an ash tree in the parking in front of your house, and you wanna save it, then treat it.
You treat it.
Yeah.
Jason,
If
is
you
there
wanna
some
take it
kind
down
of
to
a-
get rid of it, then get rid of
There's
it.
some kind of a grant program like through Mid-America or something like that for trees. It seems to me years ago, I did something along those lines. We were trying to encourage.
Oh, John Rexler did
They do have, I think it's trees, leaves or something. Usually we get like $1,000 every year.
No, so it's monetary, not.
Well, I thought the DNR had an active program like that, but I don't know if it would work for us. But I think the DNR periodically offers free trees, but I doubt it would cash in on us. Okay.
Jason, do you have a plywood update? I know that it's supposed to be started, some of the grading like yesterday.
trees, you should have a lot of wood for plywood.
Yeah. I had somebody ask me that the other day in Clark.
Why they build?
Why is it called plywood?
I was at the meeting when that was decided to be said.
I don't know if I do, Mark. I don't know if, I haven't come by there to see if anybody's on site.
Right, I haven't been by there. I know the email that we got that discussed, the grading work was anticipated to start the 5th of July. Take, I think they said about 5 weeks. something along those lines.
Yeah, and I haven't been down there to see if they're there. It rains, so maybe they.
They weren't there a couple days ago. There was nobody on site. So, I
And then once they start doing concrete, my understanding would be from the C-38 going south both places.
Yeah, so it's anticipated they will, once the dirt contractor gets on there to do 1A, he's also gonna do 1B at the same time. So by the time he gets that done, then the contractor, Caverson Smith, that'll do the paving, will come in and do the entire stretch all at once also.
Plymouth Street project that's going on right now, that's utility.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess.
It's all part of that water main
Water
lining
main
project.
It is water, right?
Water.
It's a water project.
Yeah,
4 blocks, 5 blocks.
Yeah.
And 12th Street is delayed, right?
12th Street was delayed and no further word. Last word from the contractor was July 10th, so this coming Monday.
Okay, I was gonna ask about that. Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Jacob?
Just a quick point of clarification, I know, I think it was last meeting, it came up with a minimum charge for wastewater and whether that was based on gallons or how that was set up. For water, there is a minimum of 2,000 gallons. Wastewater, there's no minimum gallons. So it's just a 936 charge and then there's a charge per 1,000 gallons. So you'll have the 936 and then.
936 is the new rate, right?
Yep.
936 on the 1,000?
So it's
No,
based
so
on-
it's just,
the
it's
service
a base
charge.
charge, yeah, it's like a service charge. a base
But there's
service
no
charge.
overs after the first 2,000 and you,
So then on